Kennedy Carter shoulder checked Caitlin Clark from behind, knocked her down before the basketball was inbounded. A common foul was called, but the WNBA on Sunday upgraded it to a flagrant one.
You know, I don't know Caitlin. I don't know her from anywhere. And this is basketball. And you're playing against somebody like me. I classify myself as a dog. So if you're going to throw a punch, I'm going to compete with you.
Everybody in the league should be ready for it, not just the rookies. I mean, coming into a league that is super competitive with amazing talent here, like, I wasn't coming in here expecting it to be easy because of the name I have.
This path is not for the weak, and I think you heard Angel Reese attest to that. Now, on this path, there will be some moments, and I think a perfect example is from whom you just saw, Kennedy Carter.
I believe, Miss Carter, you can play hard without playing cheap. But because she was standing there and you go up and you do that, now all eyes are on you. If people look at your resume, it's who you are. You're a top 5 pick, and within inside of a year, you're kicked off a team. You go to another team, and within that situation, all that happens.
The WNBA season starts in just a few weeks, and every notable free agent has found a home except one, Kennedy Carter. The same Kennedy Carter who delivered that notorious shoulder check to Caitlin Clark last June.
Kennedy Carter has finally broken her silence about this Caitlin Clark situation.
What was like the internet's response? And they're all saying facts.
Oh my gosh, it was just crazy. Like ESPN Sports Center, blam, blam, blam. To reporters saying vulgar, crazy things towards me. Just a lot of just disrespect. But I mean, it comes with being a black female athlete, you know,
like
at the top of the game.
Let's break down exactly what happened frame by frame. After scoring a basket, Carter veered sharply across the court, not to get back on defense, but with clear intent toward the unsuspecting Clark. There was no basketball reason for this path. The replay shows Carter blurting a few choice words, then eyeing Clark before delivering a hard shoulder check that sent the rookie sprawling to the hardwood. The deliberate nature of this contact was unmistakable to anyone watching.
No team was interested in Kennedy Carter, which is a shame, but you can see in the results and where we're at with the rosters that clearly the information I got was true, and you also saw it with the Chicago Sky just deciding not to bring her back.
What's particularly revealing is how officials initially deemed it merely a common foul, a routine call that happens dozens of times each game. But once they reviewed the footage, they immediately upgraded it to a flagrant. The replays don't lie. This wasn't incidental contact during a play. This was an off-ball, intentional blow delivered after a completed basketball action.
And remember when she actually cheap shot at Caitlin Clark, and all she kept saying was, what does she do other than shoot threes? She went on social media and was like, what does she do other than shoot threes? All she does is shoot threes.
Clark's response speaks volumes about her character. Despite being blindsided and knocked to the floor, she simply got up without complaint, brushed herself off, and focused on the next play. No dramatics, no retaliation, just a professional getting back to work. Meanwhile, commentators and fans erupted in outrage, recognizing that what they'd witnessed wasn't basketball. It was a deliberate attempt to intimidate or harm another player.
I know the mainstream media wants us to believe that the WNBA is surging in popularity. I know analysts like Monica McDougal at ESPN. They want us to recognize elite layup missers and failed dunkers. But what Casey has been telling you guys all season, it has been true. What I have said countless times over the past few months, it is finally being proven without a shadow of a doubt. Caitlin Clark is a megastar. Caitlin Clark is a box office draw, while the rest of the WNBA, it is nothing but a polished turd.
This wasn't Carter's first rodeo when it comes to on-court issues. Her history of volatility became a major talking point after the Clark incident. In 2021, while playing for the Atlanta Dream, she was suspended indefinitely for what the team called conduct detrimental to the team, following a heated argument that escalated beyond acceptable bounds. This pattern of behavior had already raised red flags about her professionalism and ability to function within a team structure.
Now with front office sports had said future free agents or prospective free agents, were wary of the Sky with Kennedy Carter involved, which goes to show you her reputation.
The timing couldn't have been worse for Carter. The WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth with viewership and attendance records shattered, much of it driven by Clark's arrival. The league is rightfully protective of this momentum, emphasizing professionalism as it garners mainstream attention. In this environment, Carter's actions stood in stark contrast to the image the league is cultivating.
2 years ago, their home attendance was 1,800 fans. Their average this year, home attendance, is 17,000. And, of course, the big difference is Caitlin Clark.
Carter would later attempt to explain away what millions saw with their own eyes, but the damage was already done. The shoulder check wasn't just a simple foul or even just a bad moment. It represented a career-defining mistake that transformed her from a player with considerable potential into someone teams actively avoid. Now she is breaking her silence. We'll break it down in a bit.
I also will not forget Angel Reese jumping up off the bench celebrating it, nor do I condone the fact that Kennedy Carter didn't want to answer for her actions in the press conference afterwards.
On the play before bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit after the fever
I
score.
didn't answer no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything. That's enough.
Basketball is physical, competitive, and intense, but there are unwritten boundaries that separate tough play from unnecessary aggression. Carter's actions cross that line in spectacular fashion, and the WNBA's collective response shows exactly where the league stands on protecting its players and its image.
In basketball a little bit, there's things called talking, what you like to call smack or whatever everybody likes to call it.
Yeah.
Plays before things are said, that's a part of basketball. I think a play before, maybe I was elbowed. Okay, that happens. Think the next play down, maybe something was said, and then maybe there was like a little clip of somebody like yelling in my face. And then we go down the court, then I hit like a little bucket, you feel me? Come down, hit like a little nice little mid-range pull-up. And then I just just give her like a little I'm here,
Those unwritten boundaries Carter crossed have left her career hanging by a thread. Now she's scrambling to rewrite the narrative before it's too late. Just days ago, with training camp looming and still no contract in sight, she sat down for an interview with streamer Neon that has basketball fans everywhere shaking their heads in
Told y'all this. I said Kennedy Carter wasn't going to make a WNBA roster. And as it sit, April 20th, training camps start for teams in 7 days. Training camp for a majority of the WNBA start April the 27th. Kennedy Carter is not on any WNBA roster.
Carter's attempt to explain away what millions witnessed firsthand is nothing short of astonishing. In the interview, she casually dismissed the deliberate shoulder check as merely talking smack and giving Clark a little "I'm here" energy. You know what's particularly telling? The stark contrast between this nonchalant characterization and the forceful impact that sent Clark tumbling to the hardwood. The footage doesn't lie. There was nothing subtle or routine about that contact.
It looked like the push that was heard around the world has cost WNBA player Kennedy Carter her career.
What makes this revisionist history even more transparent is Carter's sudden claim that she may have been elbowed before the play. This convenient new detail, conspicuously absent from any previous statements, has been thoroughly debunked by video evidence. The footage shows no provocation whatsoever, making this belated justification ring hollow to even casual observers.
Every field goal made has been three, and Clark gets her first field goal of the afternoon.
Here comes Clark going the other way. Clark going behind the back. Oh, it's Boston, an and one.
Social media wasted no time calling out the obvious damage control operation. One fan's comment perfectly captured the collective eye roll. "You all seriously don't believe her, do you?" This reaction wasn't isolated. Basketball communities across platforms responded with similar skepticism to what many view as a desperate attempt at image rehabilitation. The timing couldn't be more transparent. With the 2025 training camp fast approaching and Carter still unsigned, this interview looks less like setting the record straight and more like an emergency PR campaign. After months of silence about the incident, Carter suddenly feels compelled to offer her perspective just as teams are finalizing their rosters. The connection isn't exactly subtle.
Caitlin is going to have an incredible career. She will have an opportunity to go to the Olympics. She will have an opportunity to develop as a player. I think she is going to be one of the greatest players that the game has ever seen.
Perhaps the most revealing aspect of Carter's rehabilitation tour is her complete reversal on Clark's abilities. Remember when she questioned what Clark brings to the table besides three-point shooting? That dismissive tone has magically transformed into praise, with Carter now referring to the Fever star as a great player and even comparing her to LeBron James. This dramatic shift in rhetoric suggests less of a genuine change of heart and more of a calculated strategy to appear reasonable and remorseful without actually accepting responsibility.
Way out of that backcourt. Clark, Boston screen, fire away, hits a three.
Social media wasted no time calling out the obvious damage control operation. One fan's comment perfectly captured the collective eye roll. "You all seriously don't believe her, do you?" This reaction wasn't isolated. Basketball communities across platforms responded with similar skepticism to what many view as a desperate attempt at image rehabilitation, without actually accepting responsibility.
These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have fucked this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they tried.
Basketball analysts have pointed out how Carter's explanation fundamentally mischaracterizes normal physicality in professional basketball. One analyst cut straight to the heart of the issue. Carter's actions weren't just unsportsmanlike. They represented a threat to the league's brightest star and its future. There's a world of difference between competitive physical play and deliberately targeting another player after the whistle. What Carter still doesn't seem to grasp is that her problem isn't just the incident itself. It's her continued inability to take genuine accountability. By downplaying the severity of her actions and attempting to introduce fictional provocations, she's reinforcing the exact concerns that have made teams hesitant to sign her.
For the first time ever, they have a superstar in this league that not only has the ability to draw a mainstream audience, she also has the ability to play actual basketball.
The interview has accomplished the opposite of its likely intended purpose. Instead of rehabilitating her image, it has further cemented the perception that Carter struggles with accountability and may not be a reliable teammate. Talent has never been Carter's issue. She's proven herself capable of scoring at the highest level, but talent alone isn't enough when questions about character and team chemistry loom this large. Basketball is ultimately a team sport built on trust. When a player shows they're willing to target a star opponent with a non-basketball play and then refuse to take responsibility for it months later, it raises serious red flags about how they'll function within a team environment.
Caitlin Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA.
Carter's attempt to reframe the narrative has only emphasized why she remains unsigned, while players with less raw talent have secure roster spots. The basketball world operates on an unwritten code that separates tough competitors from problematic teammates. And right now, Carter is experiencing something almost unprecedented in WNBA history. In a league constantly searching for offensive firepower, a player who averaged 17.5 points per game last season remains completely unsigned with training camps opening in just days. This speaks volumes about how front offices truly view her actions.